If right now love feels chaotic, maybe your money feels unstable, or it's just simply time to rebuild, you're going through some type of major shift, maybe just emotionally, you haven't been yourself. It is time to ground up and to allow yourself to feel every single moment of this rock bottom, because this is about to be one of the biggest turning points towards emotional security, financial abundance, and a deeper soul alignment, especially when it comes to your love life. If you are done with feast and famine cycles and you are ready to align with your next level, then this episode is for you. In this episode, I'm going to talk to you all about rock bottoms, my experience with rock bottoms, and also how you can quickly get out of it. So if you are right now in need of a way of finding your way out of a hole, you're going to want to save this episode and share this episode with someone that you know that may be going through a rock bottom to help them get in alignment and hurry up and level up. Thank you so much for tuning in to this episode of Pattern. I am Zara J, and I am here to guide you through this process, because if I know anything, I know a rock bottom. I know a rock bottom very well. I have been rock bottomed, it seemed like, into every single major step of my life, whether it's been writing Amazon best-selling books, launching my matchmaking, launching Captivating Courtship, and even through the Love Loft. They have all come out of some of the most painful, hardest times that I've experienced in my adult life. So many positive, beautiful things have occurred out of rock bottoms. But listen, here's the thing. Before we even dive into it, I want to tell you that you do not have to go through a rock bottom to stay on your highest path and to stay out of the patterns that are keeping you stuck, which is why I am so big on helping you to rewire your patterns and to get in alignment with your next level, because you can do this in a more gentle, easier way that operates in more of a flow state. But if you are like me and have a history like I do, then you may find yourself being rock bottomed. Maybe you go through cycles every 3 to 5 years where you go through some type of rock bottom moment. And it can look very different for everyone. Rock bottom doesn't have to necessarily mean that everything is at its absolute worst, but it can be a bad place for you, whatever rock bottom looks like for you, which is why when I'm doing the expansion map with clients and inside the rewiring portal, that is why I tell you to create your rock bottom moment based upon what rock bottom looks like for you. It can be very, very different for every person. What is your level of financial security, your emotional security, your relationship security, lifestyle alignment, all of those things, career, all of those things, what that looks like for you is very personal. But when you're falling below that line and you're below that line for a period of time, let's say it's been a few months, I would say at least 3 months, that maybe you feel like you've been stuck in this space. Maybe it's been at least 2 months. But if you've been in this space for at least 3 months and it seems like you're having a hard time getting out of it and you just don't know your way to the next level, back to a place of feeling secure, back to a place of feeling grounded and rooted and stable in all of those areas, then you are probably right now navigating a rock bottom. So when we think about a rock bottom, it's not from a place of punishment. I don't want you to think that the source, I don't care if you say God, Allah, universe, whatever it is for you, but a rock bottom is not a punishment. It is truly just the source's way of rerouting you back to your highest path. Somewhere you've lost focus. You have a greater desire for your life. You have a greater desire when it comes to love or money, or there's just more that's destined for you. And you've been distracted. You've been making choices or operating in old patterns that's taking you off of that path. Maybe you're making decisions that's based upon your old identity and old routines and old habits. Or maybe you're just simply moving out of fear, control, panic, scarcity, all those things, and it's keeping you from where you need to be. For some, you may need to go through a hard reset to get you back onto the right path. And those hard resets, unfortunately, sometimes can feel like a punishment, but they're really not. It's really just trying to help you to get back on the path that you need to be on so that you can slow down, reclaim ease, reclaim stability, and build love and money from a new foundation that's going to be more in alignment with who you actually need to become and where you're actually supposed to be headed. So when we think about a rock bottom, it doesn't always have to be super, super dramatic. Like I said, it can be very subtle. It can be silent. It can feel like emotional burnout. It can feel like feast or famine in your finances. It could feel like repeating relationship cycles. But there's usually some shared emotional states that you're operating in, no matter what type of rock bottom that you're going through. Usually you're going to be feeling deep senses of shame or anxiety. Maybe you're doing a lot of overanalyzing, overthinking. Maybe when it comes to your business or your career, you're undercharging, you're not making enough money, and you know you could be making more money, and it's keeping you in financial setbacks. Maybe when it comes to your business, if you have a business, maybe you're undercharging and you can't grow your business, and maybe you're afraid to charge more, or maybe your life is falling off financially because you're not taking those financial leaps and making those decisions that you need to make. This could look like attracting a lot of tension or friction in your love life. Maybe you're having a lot of problems and arguments with your spouse or with your partner. Maybe you're just attracting emotionally unavailable partners or those who just aren't in alignment with the type of love and relationship that you deserve. Maybe you're just in a space of questioning your worth. If that is you, it is so important for you to understand you haven't lost your way. You've just been out of alignment with your true worth. There is a higher level of self-worth that you need to be operating in when it comes to your decisions, your lifestyle, your embodiment, how you're showing up for yourself, how you're engaging with others, the type of decisions that you need to make. And until you get in alignment with a higher state of self-worth, when you step into your worthiness, when you get in alignment in such deep-seated self-love that all of your options, all of your decisions, everything around you is reflecting that, that is when you're going to get back in alignment. So right now, if you are going through a rock bottom, your source's GPS, the source's GPS is simply just rerouting you. So try to breathe with that. Understand that there is relief on the other side. Not just relief, there is so much waiting for you on the other side if you allow yourself to navigate this and not do it with delay or resentment or regret. The faster and the more you are willing to ground and to go through the steps that I'm going to share with you in this episode of how to get out of this rock bottom, the more you're going to step into your worth, get into alignment, and get onto the path of the love, money, abundance, all the things that you want. But first, you're going to have to rebuild your foundation and rebuild deep, deep, deep emotional recalibration, especially when it comes to your patterns. Now, if you are not familiar with the 8 love loops, look at the previous episode, listen to the previous episode, because in that episode, I break all of the 8 love loops down. I'll also link it in the show notes. But some of the core things that typically show up, and every single pattern type is different. And if you haven't taken the love and money quiz to find out what is your love loop that you're operating in, then you want to go to theloveloss.com/quiz to take the quiz. The link for that is also in the show notes. But you want to get clear on what your love loop archetype is. Once you are clear on your pattern, remember, love and money mirror each other. So whatever is going on in one area is going on in the other. But when you are operating in any of these patterns, some of the things that tend to show up tend to be over-functioning. Maybe you are taking so much action, just doing, hustling, moving, but not really seeing the fruits of your labor, not seeing a lot of results based upon the amount of action that you're taking. Maybe you're going through some type of emotional enmeshment. You are deeply emotionally entangled with maybe your partner or family member or someone in your life, and that's causing you to be very emotionally imbalanced and unstable because you're acting from a place of codependency. Maybe you're experiencing a lot of scarcity mindset. Scarcity mindset is extremely common, especially when you're going through a rock bottom. Let me just share this story with you. So years ago, when I first started doing the work and I first started realizing how deep in scarcity mindset I was operating, I didn't realize that I was running on such autopilot when it came to making decisions from a place of scarcity. And one of the things that I would do, and maybe I've mentioned this in previous podcasts, and this is just a small thing that I would do, but this was one of the things that I used to switch my level of awareness. I was operating in such a state of scarcity when it came to money that I would default, when I was grocery shopping, I would always default to getting whatever was the cheapest item. Or if I was out shopping, I would always buy whatever was on clearance. I wouldn't even give myself permission to get what I actually wanted, to make decisions based upon value and not solely based upon price or solely like it's just this transaction. And I wasn't making decisions based upon what was like truly in alignment with the woman that I wanted to be. So let's say I was clothing shopping, the stores that I would go to, or if I went to a store, I would always go to the clearance rack or look for a sale, even if there was something that I wanted that was full price. Now, at the time, I was going through some financial challenges, so paying for some of those full price items may have been a little more difficult. Maybe my budget wasn't for it as much, right? But here's the thing, and I truly do believe this, because one of the things that my grandmother taught me, like God rest her soul, she's one of my biggest expanders when it comes to financial abundance and identity shifting. And I wasn't aware of that growing up, but now I can appreciate who she was in my life and what she represented and all the things that I learned through just observing her as a young woman and as a little girl. But one of the things that she used to say to me when I was little was, if you like it, get it, don't worry about the price. Now, I know if you're going through a rock bottom right now, or if you're deep in scarcity mindset, you might say, oh yeah, that sounds good, but that's not realistic. Oh yeah, that sounds good, but if I can't afford it, then I'm not going to do it. Well, it's not that simple. If I were to go back to me when I was going through this deep period of scarcity mindset and scared to spend money on the clothing that I wanted, or scared to spend money when I'm grocery shopping, I'm just defaulting to maybe the generic brands or maybe whatever the store brand was, or whatever the cheapest item or what was on sale, and not actually taking the time to slow down, ask myself, like, what do I actually want? What has the better quality ingredients? What is a better buy for my body, for myself, and my overall identity overall? I would have been able to make very different decisions. Maybe I would have spent a little more money on something that was of better quality. Maybe I wouldn't have been able to get 3 items, and I only got 1 item for that same price. Let's just say I wanted to buy something for $100, let's say. And let's say I could have chosen to go maybe to the clearance rack or maybe to a cheaper store. And maybe for that same $100, maybe I would have been able to get 3 items. But if I went to a store that I really wanted, maybe I would have been able to only get 1 really great quality item. But that 1 item would have lasted me for years. It would have made me feel totally embodied in the identity that I wanted to step into. It would have made me feel amazing and beautiful and confident because it was what I actually wanted, and I was making a choice and a decision based upon value and not based upon scarcity. Just that little shift would allow me to identify and see myself in a very different way. And that's the type of actions that you have to take that's going to get you in alignment with the person that you need to be and what your next level is. This is the part that a lot of people have a hard time understanding about, whether you want to talk about timeline shifting or quantum leaps or shifting your identity or getting in alignment with your next level. If you don't understand that what is on the path based upon the patterns and the actions that you're taking and the version of yourself that you're being, that is going to create a predictable outcome. There's a series of events. It's a timeline, right? When you go back to elementary school and you had this first learning about history timelines and the chain and the sequence of events that occur based upon the chain and the sequence of events that happened prior to it. Well, if you are acting out a pattern, if you are making decisions based upon the old version of you, if you are continuing to live out that timeline, then the same thing is going to occur. The outcome that is bound to happen based upon those series of events are what's going to happen on that timeline. So if you want to shift into your next level, you have to give yourself permission to slow down, to rewire your patterns so that you can take different aligned action that's in alignment with where you're trying to go and not based upon who you've been in the past. This is why so many people get stuck or they stay in rock bottoms far longer than they need to because they don't know how to identity shift and to how to shift their mindset to take different aligned action. But we're going to get into it. Just hold on a second. We're going to get into it. So more on the emotional patterns that typically show up with the love loop. So you might be in a state of people pleasing. Maybe you're doing a lot of people pleasing. Maybe you're being super inauthentic, whether that's in your relationships, it could be in your friendships, it could be even in your business or your day-to-day life. You're out of authenticity with who you are. If you're struggling in your business right now, if you're struggling in your business, if you're struggling in your career and you find yourself shrinking or people pleasing, or you're not feeling fully aligned, you're having a hard time making progress, it's probably because you're being very inauthentic about your career, about your business. You're not in alignment with who you truly are and who you truly need to be. I believe, especially if you decide to start a business or if there's a greater career. I was working with a client last week and it was such a great call and it was such a great session because in that session, she finally, this was like super beautiful. I'm super excited for her. And I hope that she continues to take aligned action. But one of the things that happened during our guidance session was that she shared how she's been expanding her beliefs when it comes to career alignment. She has been in the same career for quite some time. She's very educated, very intelligent, but she's been holding herself back when it comes to going for bigger opportunities or even going for higher education in those fields. So as she's been doing the work and as she's been opening her eyes up to what's possible financially when it comes to her career field, she's seeing greater opportunities. She's seeing more jobs that are available. She's even seeing how she can almost triple her pay by going for the next degree and actually entertaining the possibility of like, hey, maybe this is possible. Maybe I could do this. Maybe I could take this next step. And that is major because if you've been holding yourself back, playing it small, if you haven't fully grounded into your authenticity about what you really want, something I see so often, especially with women, shout out to the men that's listening to this episode, but I see this really, really, really commonly with women, that a lot of women are very uncomfortable asking for more, saying they want to go for a greater career, saying they want to make more money, they want nicer things, they want to live a bigger life. You have to give yourself permission to say those things or to go after them unless you're being really inauthentic about who you are and what you desire. If you're afraid to claim that, maybe you don't want to offend people, maybe you're afraid to leave people behind, maybe you're afraid of what people will think and judgment, all those things, you're shrinking and you're not being your true self. The more you can ground into that and embody your true authenticity that's in alignment with your desires, all those things that you desire then become a magnet for you. It's like you can't be a magnet for the things that you want if you don't have your beacon light on. You have to turn that light on. It has to be able to see you and identify you. Now, some other things that may be coming through during your rock bottom that's causing a lot of instability when it comes to love and money might be you undervaluing yourself. You're operating from a place of low self-worth. You're not allowing yourself to miss out on opportunities that are a no. You are not walking away from misaligned opportunities. Instead, you're chasing opportunities, people, conversations, circumstances that's a reflection of a lower valued self. And so you have to stop undervaluing yourself. And this could be in love, it could be in relationships. You have to get clear on your authentic value. What is it about you that is undeniably valuable? What is the light that you bring into every single room that you walk into that makes you valuable? You have to know that. You have to be clear in that, and you have to be able to stand in that. When you can stand in that and you own it, that is when you embody high self-worth. That is when you attract the people, the opportunities, and all the things that you want to you, because now it can see your light. You are honoring yourself, and therefore everything around you has to be a reflection of that. Other things that could be showing up that's causing instability when it comes to love and money is imbalanced relationships. Maybe there's a power struggle, maybe there's a control dynamic, maybe there's a lot of resistance. But these things are also showing up that's going to cause instability. If you are going through feast and famine cycles, 9 times out of 10, you are resisting receiving in some type of way. The receiving is connected to the feminine. If you have a disconnect with your feminine energy, if you are uncomfortable asking for what you want, holding emotional space, if you are not slowing down, allowing yourself to embody your creative energy, if you are operating from a place of control or fear or scarcity, any of those things, then your receiving energy isn't open. All of this will create an internal tug of war that's going to be very, very difficult for you to operate from a place of peace or softness or rest. It's all going to cause you to operate from a place of unworthiness, weakness. You might even see rest as laziness. A lot of times I'm working with women who are operating in their wounded masculine, and they put themselves into rock bottoms because they just don't simply know how to rest and recharge. So if you are in this space, then I want you to recognize that this is just the beginning, okay? You raised your level of awareness. You've gotten clear on where you are and some of the things that's showing up. But now it's time to actually start recalibrating. So what we're going to do and what we're going to focus on when it comes to shifting out of your next level, you don't have to take such a big, I'm shifting on a rock bottom. You don't have to take such a big leap from rock bottom to next level, because that may trigger your nervous system and it may cause you to self-sabotage and fall right back into old patterns. So we don't want to focus on taking such drastic leaps, even though it's possible, because I've definitely done it. I have gone from 0 to, 50K in just a few months. And even though it may have been amazing financially to make that type of decision or make that type of leap, what it also did was trigger my nervous system. I remember going from 0 to a 30K month. 1 month it was like maybe just a few $1,000s, and then the next month I made 30K. And as amazing as that may sound for some people, that can lead to a lot of self-sabotage, a lot of triggering for the nervous system that will cause you to actually sink back into a rock bottom. So I want you to avoid that by following the 6 steps that I'm going to take you through. But the goal is to get into that level and that state that's in between rock bottom and in between your next level, which is just a secure state. I just your state of security. So if you can think about, and this is on the expansion map, if you can think about what life has looked like maybe in the past, or if you're currently in a rock bottom, maybe right now you're in a space of security right now where things are good. You're not great, you're not thriving, but it's not a rock bottom. But your secure state is just like things are stable. Bills are paid on time. Maybe you don't have a lot of savings, but you're not, in financial hardship. Maybe you're dating or you're in a relationship or you're married. It is good. It's not thriving, but it's not broken or terrible. Maybe you're not dating. Maybe you're just comfortable being single. And for you, the next level would be dating or relationship. But right now, it's like you're single, but you're content with being single. You're not beating yourself up about it, but you're also not completely satisfied. Whatever stability looks like for you. Maybe you're emotionally confident, you're stable, but you're not like thrilled about life, or you're not in love with your life right now. That is what the security level looks like. So your goal when you're in a rock bottom is just to focus on gradually shifting into your security level and then continuing that journey gradually into next level. If you're in security, then you can leap straight into next level, make some hard leaps, some major shifts, and get to next level very quickly. But if you're currently in rock bottom, I want you to move your way up. And this doesn't have to take long. This can take on average, I would say between 3 months to, depending on what your security needs to look like and depending on what you desire for your security level and how deeply in rock bottom you are, it could possibly take up to a year. But in most cases, you can shift out of rock bottom to get to a place of stability within 3 to 6 months. 3 to 6 focus months of following the steps that I'm going to share with you. But the goal is to just get to a place of emotional and financial stability. It's not about luxury. It's just spiritually, your nervous system is at a base foundation. So you're going to shift from a state of proving and struggle into a place of embodying your worth and creating more aligned ease. You're going to shift out of chaos to calm. That is the primary focus. It's just to get yourself into a base level state. And when you do that and you continue to move forward, before you know it, you will be at next level. So on average, I would say ground into what I'm going to share with you and use the rewiring vault. If you are a member of the Love Loft, go through the workshops, use the rewirings and the heart healing visualizations, and you're going to focus on using these tools for the next 3 to 6 months consistently to get to a place of security. You could probably do it in the next 90 days. And then you're going to continue so that a year or less from now, you can be in your next level. It doesn't have to take forever. It just has to take intention and consistency. Embodiment is what's going to get you there. So what are the 6 steps that you need to take if you are trying to rebuild from a rock bottom? Let's go and walk through this. You can take your notes out. You can go through this, but you're going to go through this. And I am going to be creating a workshop specifically for this, a module specifically for this inside the Love Loft, inside the Rewiring Vault. So you're going to be able to go through the workshop specifically designed to get you out of rock bottom. You're going to have the heart healing visualizations to guide you through this so that you can navigate out of this. When I'm telling you, I've had to navigate myself out of rock bottom so many times. So I'm telling you the steps to take to make it happen faster. You don't need to stay in rock bottoms longer than you need to be. So let's talk about it. So the first thing that you need to do is you need to do a very, very deep evaluation. I need you to have radical honesty and ask yourself, what is actually going on in my situation right now and what has led me to get here? Journal it out, write it out. You can meditate. Definitely want you to write it out. But I want you to get deeply, deeply clear, authentic, and honest with yourself about what this moment of rock bottom is showing you. What is it showing you about yourself, about the habits you've had, the choices you've made, the beliefs that no longer serve you? What are the things, the lessons that you are being taught in this moment that's out of alignment with who you actually need to become? What is the life that you've been choosing? What are the decisions that you've been avoiding? What are the conversations that you need to have? Who are the people that you need to let go? All of those things. But I need you to get deeply, deeply honest and authentic. This is where you have to have not just radical honesty with yourself, but you also have to have radical authenticity and accountability. This is where accountability comes in, because if you are not holding yourself accountable for the choice that you make, you will stay in a blame game and victimhood, which will keep you in rock bottom. So you have to ground in and get deeply, deeply, deeply accountable for what has caused you to get into this space. And listen, as you are journaling, as you're going to go through this, if you are feeling grief, allow yourself to feel it. Whatever tears, whatever emotions, whatever it is that comes up for you, allow yourself to feel every single bit of it. You could get this done in a day. This might take a couple of days, it might take a couple of weeks for you to just get through this step. But you have to allow yourself to feel the emotions. Do not bypass, do not suppress them. Feel it, because when you feel those emotions, it'll wake you up to what you no longer need to experience. So you have to allow yourself to feel every moment of it. Now, the next thing that you want to do is you want to go inside the love loop rewiring vote, and you want to focus on doing the security, grounding, inner work exercises and workshops and visualizations. So that includes, you're going to do some inner child healing, some shadow work. You're going to focus on forgiveness, which is super, super important when you are in a rock bottom. You have to embody forgiveness. Forgiveness for yourself, forgiveness for others, forgiveness for the situation. If you do not release and allow yourself to activate forgiveness, you will be holding on to a lot of shame and guilt and resentment. And so you have to let that go. So inside the love loop rewiring vote, you're going to do inner child, you're going to do forgiveness. You're also going to do belief clearing. If you're trying to do love, you're going to do the love beliefs. If you're trying to align with your next level, you're going to do your next level beliefs. If you want to get to the root of money, you're going to do your generational wealth beliefs. But you want to do belief clearing. You can do all three. If you're trying to get to the next level of all three and you're trying to get out of rock bottom for all three, then you can do the visualizations at least 3 or 4 times a week for all three. And of course, you're going to do your shadow work, and you're going to just let this be a season of rewiring. Like I said, you're going to spend time for the next 3 to 6 months, at the bare minimum, twice a week. Before you go to bed, or when you first wake up, or when you have a moment of downtime where you're in a restful state, you're going to do the workshops and the visualizations. Once you do the workshop at least 1 or 2 times, and you may just want to just stick to the visualizations, but you want to use these visualizations throughout the week, and you're going to use them as needed. You're going to treat them like a prescription for your brain and for your emotions to rewire and get you into a higher state. When you do this, you're going to have more willpower and more emotional management to move forward, and you're going to have a lot more clarity as well. Now, once you do that, you've gotten radically honest with yourself and accountable. You started rewiring, you're doing the workshops. The next thing that you're going to do is, and this is all at the same time, you're working on all this. So like the 3 to 6 month period is a period of intention. You got to get out of this rock bottom. So you have to ground in, you have to lock in, as some people say, and do these steps because it's going to get you there. But the next thing is heart activation. There are a few ways that you can step into heart activation. That can be self-care. And when we talk about self-care, it's not just like the pampering, but pampering is a part of it. Like if you want to do beauty, if you need to take care of yourself physically, go for walks, upgrade your diet, prioritize any level of self-care. It could just be simply rest, but you want to prioritize self-care and really allow yourself to hold space for yourself. Get back into the feminine. Whether you're male or female, you have to ignite that feminine energy in you so that you are being able to hold yourself emotionally. You can use different type of holistic tools, whether it's sound baths. At the Love Loft, we have sound baths, we have Reiki. You could do breath work. It could be coaching, therapy, whatever's going to activate your heart. You're going to focus on holistic healing. But when it comes to sound baths, Reiki, breath work, these are all things that are going to help to reset and recalibrate your nervous system. If you do not have access to those, like you're not a member of the Love Loft, you can still find other ways to utilize different tools or resources, but you want to start practicing some type of heart activation. This could also be daily gratitude. When I'm working with clients and I have them practicing daily gratitude, and usually I'm like their accountability partner, so they'll text me over their daily gratitude. But your daily gratitude, when you are allowing yourself to be present and to practice daily gratitude, your heart is going to become more open to those micro joys in life. You're going to start looking at your situation from a lens of the cup is half full, and you're going to start seeing all the other ways around you where love and money is abundant. So you want to start practicing gratitude, finding little micro joys in life, things to be grateful for, things to show appreciation, and allow yourself to receive it. Another thing that you can do is find little ways to start giving charity. When I was in a state of deep scarcity and going through a rock bottom, I would do things just as small as, when you're out shopping, and it could be leaving a tip Or if it's asking, hey, do you want to round up to donate to this charity? Clicking yes instead of just automatically defaulting to no. It could be finding ways. Maybe you want to bake cookies for a friend and give them, a plate of cookies. Maybe you want to invite some family over and invite them over for dinner or to do something where you're in a place of abundance and generosity. And the reason why this is so important is because if you are in a state of rock bottom, you're trying to hold on to every single thing that's around you because you're so unstable and you're so scared of losing control. So by being in a state of generosity, where you are giving and you're being generous and you're not thinking about, oh, if I share my food with someone, then I won't have food in a couple of days. Or if I donate this dollar or if I round up, then I'm going to have $1 less. Like whatever those things are. And again, for everybody, rock bottom looks very different. But for you, whatever that looks like where you can donate, maybe you give some clothing away, maybe you give some of your time away, but you being in a state of generosity where you are giving and not just hoping, praying, and waiting to receive, now you're creating more flow of the giving and receiving, and this creates more balance. And this is going to shift your mental, your emotional state and activate your heart. Now, the fourth thing that you want to do is create your expansion map. I am super big on this. It is one of my favorite exercises inside of the rewiring flow. It's one of my favorite exercises to do with my love and money mentorship clients when we are getting clear on what your next level needs to be. If you are not a member, then you just want to simply get clear on what your next level needs to look like. You want to get clear on everything, the mental, the emotional, your relationship, your career, how much money, all the things. Get very specific about what you want for your next level and what would feel completely aligned if you were in your high state of self-worth. What would you really want? And again, remember, right now you're just focusing on going from rock bottom to security. So you just want to get, what does getting back to a secure state look like for you? If you've never been in a secure state and you've always been in financial hardship or you've always been at rock bottom, then you need to get clear on if you were to be stable, if you were to be mentally, emotionally, financially, spiritually, all those things, relationship-wise, all those things, stable, what would that actually look like for you? You want to paint a very clear picture and map it out so that you can get clear on the micro actions that you need to take in order to embody it. Now, steps 5 and 6, here we go. Step 5 is energy shred. You need to detox anything that is draining your energy. It could be people, it could be conversations that you need to have that's ruminating in your mind that you need to just sit down and have the conversation with someone and let them know how you really feel or let them know what you desire. Maybe it's leaving a job. Maybe it's releasing, if you have a business, maybe it's old offers or old, parts of the business that you need to let go of that's draining your energy. Maybe you don't need to completely let something go, but you need to pivot in how you're doing it. Maybe it's old beliefs, friendships, clothing, items in your home. Like, let's just say, for example, maybe you have a remote control battery that is giving you so much headache because you just simply need to change the batteries in the remote control, but you've been avoiding taking that small little step. You just want to pay attention to what in your atmosphere is draining your energy. What do you need to detox? What do you need to eliminate? Maybe you just need to pivot and make some different decisions and not completely get rid of it, but you need to get clear. Clean out your closet. Get rid of all the old pajamas, old, makeup, like whatever it is. You have to clear space for the new and the next version of you so that you can replace that with what is actually going to be in alignment with your next level. So whatever needs to go, take inventory of that and give yourself permission to actually make those decisions to shred whatever is draining your energy. And then the last thing that you need to do is you need to take at least one big, bold action. You need to take one big leap into alignment. Now, up until now, you've been taking a lot of micro actions to embody that security stage or whatever your next level is. And you're going to continue to do that as you're rewiring, as you're getting clear, as you're practicing self-care, as you're activating your heart. You're going to do all those things and continue to do those things to get in alignment with that level inside your expansion map. But you need to take at least one big, bold action that's going to force you into that next level. So once you are very, very clear about your vision and what that next level looks like for you, what it looks like to get the security or what it looks like to get to your next level, you have to make the decision to take a leap. That could be investing in yourself. For me, one thing that I've always done has always required me to take that next level up a notch, or if I've gone through a rock bottom, I've always had to make an investment in myself. Whether that was coaching, it could have been investment in a new vehicle, it could have been investment into a new place to live, it could have been an investment into some new skills, it could have been an investment into my wardrobe, whatever it was. I just started using my money very intentionally to invest into my next level. So whatever it is that you need that's going to get you supported and get you in alignment with that next level, let the money go. You have to be willing, because it'll always come back. If you are in a scarcity mindset, I need you to understand that money will always come back. There's always more money to make. There's always more money coming. There's always more money on the way. So you cannot hoard it, because that is a scarcity mindset, because you believe that it's not going to come back to you or you're never going to make it back. And that's almost always not true. Almost always not true. So you have to be willing to invest into your next level. And that can look very different for everybody depending on what you need, but make the necessary investments to get you in alignment with your next level. You also need to focus on, when it comes to taking big, bold action, is saying no to anything that's not in alignment with where you're trying to go. You have to get so discerning. You have to be such a bully about your no that you are leaving things behind that's in alignment with your old identity. And then you need to make the decision to start whatever that new thing is that's going to be in alignment with your next level. You can't wait for the perfect timing. You can't wait for you to be perfect. You don't need the perfect nothing happens because of perfection. Things will happen and become the perfect time and the perfect outcome as a result of you taking action to have it. So stop waiting and start aligning. Start making decisions that's in alignment with where you're trying to go, so that you are fully available to receive it. So I hope that you enjoyed this episode, and feel free to send a message on Instagram or to leave a comment and let me know which one of these actions do you need to take right now. Are you going through a rock bottom? Are you in a security stage? Are you trying to leap into your next level? Where are you at right now? And then I also want you to take these next actions. The first thing that I want you to do is take the love loop quiz, the love and money quiz, so that you can get clear on your patterns. And after that, you're going to take the free love or money mini course. If you're in a rock bottom right now, you can simply start by taking the free mini course. You're going to get workshops in there with some journaling prompts. You're also going to get to experience a heart healing visualization so you can understand what the rewiring process is like. But you can simply just start there. You can also join the Love Loft Collective, and you can allow yourself to engage and be around other like-minded people. So become a member of the Love Loft and learn more about our services and how we can assist you, whether that is with our group, or if you decide that you want to join the Love and Money Mentorship, where I can work with you one-on-one to not only guide you through your patterns, but intentionally get you in alignment with your next level. Recently, I've been helping clients go for bigger job opportunities, launch their businesses, even when it comes to their love life, going after more love and better opportunities, and understanding how to navigate relationships in a more aligned way. But whatever that is for you, we have something for you to help you to get in alignment with your next level and get you out of rock bottom. So thank you so much for listening to this episode. I hope that you absolutely love it. Please feel free to leave us a review, because it goes so far and it helps other people to find this podcast. And we love you. We love you. We love you so much for it. Thank you so much for tuning in. All the links to everything that you need is in the show notes, and I will talk to you soon. Have a wonderful, wonderful week.